Every good TCG always needs a great starting on point. For Star Wars Unlimited, that comes in the form of the Spotlight decks, which we get every single time a new set releases. Well, with Secrets of Power on the horizon, Fantasy Flight Games have revealed all of the cards that are going to be in the Spotlight decks coming for the new set. So in this video, we're going to break down all of the cards that are in the Spotlight deck, both exclusive to it and those that are included in the main set. My name's Ben Fitzpatrick. I'm a TCG caster. That means I just love talking about them. So let's do that right now. But before we go ahead and get into today's video, if you do enjoy it, please do consider dropping a like rating on it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like I know nearly 90% of people that watch my videos have not done. If you're coming back on the regular and you enjoy the content, you might as well subscribe. It's completely free to do so, and it helps me out a ton with the support as well. While you're down there, drop a comment down below with the cards that you're looking forward to maybe seeing in Secrets of Power, and check out my link tree in the description where you can find me on other social platforms. Yes, a couple of days ago we had the deck lists revealed and released for Secrets of Power's Spotlight decks. These were originally two-player starter sets when the game first launched. You bought one box, it came with two pre-constructed decks, so you could immediately take them out of the box and play against somebody else. But since Jump to Lightspeed onwards, they've done away with the two-player starter sets, which I think is kind of a good and a bad thing. I liked the two-player starter sets because it meant that the game was very easily accessible and very easily approachable for new players if, you know, one was already quite experienced in the game and they had someone that was a little bit more interested in trying to dip their toes in, or you had two completely brand new players and both people didn't need to shell out for individual decks. You could just get the one two-player starter set. But now they've brought in the Spotlight decks, which is just the single deck as well as a booster pack of Secrets of Power. So let's get into the deck lists themselves, starting off with Padme Amidala. You're getting quite a few different cards in here. A couple of in threes, which is your maximum quantity that you're allowed to play in a constructed deck of Star Wars Unlimited, known as the Premiere format. And you'll notice that this little asterisk marks next to some of them, noting that they are cards from a previous set. It is something that Star Wars Unlimited tends to do in their expansions, is reprint some cards that we have already seen from previous sets to either make them fresher for new players to maybe get a hold of them a little bit easier, or for when rotation comes around so that those cards will stay legal in the Premiere format. So this is Padme's list. We've got a couple of different rares in here, as well as your 3-ofs in your starter deck cards. These ones with the black S next to their collection number. That means that they are exclusive to the Spotlight deck. But the nice thing about them is that you immediately, apart from the leader, get 3 copies of any of the Spotlight deck exclusive cards. So unlike a lot of other TCGs that are out there where you might have to buy 2 versions of a starter deck to get a full play set, in Star Wars Unlimited, you immediately get the play set when you buy the deck, which I think is a really, really great thing that Star Wars Unlimited tends to do. So we've got all of these cards being listed here, but what do they actually do? Well, that's what we're going to go ahead and take a further look into. We're going to start off with the Chancellor's Shuttle here. It's a 2-resource space unit in Vigilance and Villainy. 1/3 with Restore 1. Very, very nice. I think it was all the way back in Legends of the Force when we were talking about there not being too many Restore cards in Vigilance and Villainy. Well, we've now got another one in space. It also has the effect of when defeated, if you control Chancellor Palpatine as a leader or unit, you may give an experience token to a unit. So not bad at all. Could maybe crash into some 1 HP units in the space arena, or maybe use something like Make an Opening or a card of that kind of effect to reduce a space unit's stat lines down, and then crash in with the Chancellor Shuttle, try and get the when defeated effect off. And if you control Palpatine as either a leader or a unit, so obviously in this case for the Spotlight deck, you control Palpatine in the leader zone, you will get an experience token. Not a bad card at all. What this card screams to me more, however, is for this to go into Flip Palp from set 3 from Twilight of the Republic, the one that both goes as its heroism side and its villainy side, and doesn't have a unit. That's where this screams out to me that this card could potentially find its way into. We've then got another rare, and what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put the two things side by side here so we can exactly see the deck lists and what we are getting. There we go. That will help out a little bit here. So we've got Newt Gunray here, who is indeed one of your few rares that you're going to be getting in the Palpatine Spotlight deck. It's a 3/4 for 3 ground unit with grit. When played and on attack, you may give another friendly official unit Sentinel for this phase. We've started to see a couple more sort of official matters, kind of keyword deck ideas running around with the Supreme Leader Snoke, I believe it was, that cared about the official tag. Now you've got a way to give those officials Sentinel, and it's got grit to work with something like Kira Leader as well. So Newt Gunray, not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I think you're going to have to do a lot to make this card really, really work. We've then got Slime Moore, 4 resource to 6 with a ground unit. When played for this phase, each enemy unit gets -2 power while it's attacking a base, and it has the plot keyword as well, which activates when you deploy a leader. You can play this card from your resources, paying its cost, and just like Smuggle, you replace that resource with the top card of your deck. This one's a little bit awkward, I think. You're kind of forced to play this unit as your first action for the phase to get the maximum usage out of it, to get that real impact from the -2 power. And of course, there may just be some decks out there, you might just be playing against a deck that isn't going to want to be attacking base very early on, but around that sort of 4 resource point. Slimore maybe might be a little bit better when it is played from plot, but right now I'm not seeing a bunch on this card, apart from maybe the 6 HP, that's really screaming out to me that you're going to want to play. We've seen Cad Bane already, but we will go over him again quickly. 4/5 for 5 on the ground. When played, defeat a unit with 2 or less remaining HP that you can play with plot. Not bad. Again, maybe a little bit better when being activated from plot. Now this card, which is completely new, the Dogmatic Shock Squad. It's a 6-cost ground unit in Vigilance and Villainy, 4/6 Sentinel, which can also be played from plot. This just seems like your sort of generic, I'm going to sit in the way of the ground arena and just eat a couple of attacks here. I'm not sure whether this is going to see much further play aside from in the Spotlight deck. Maybe in a Clone Matters deck, it's Nala Se that is the Clone Matters leader unit that allows you to ignore aspect penalties on any clone units that you play. So for believers in that deck, this is a new tool for it. Whether it's going to work or not, I'm not 100% sure. We've then got a space unit in the Cantwell Arrester Cruiser. It is a 7-cost space unit. 6/7, it's also a capital ship, so maybe working for Admiral Piet's Vigilance decks. And when played, you may disclose double Vigilance Villainy, and we'll get on to disclose in a second. If you do, exhaust an enemy unit, that unit can't ready while this unit is in play. So what we've essentially got here is kind of a no good to me dead permanently on a body. Your opponent has to get rid of this Cantwell Arrestor Cruiser for you to be able to have that effect wearing off, which I think is really interesting. It's really, really different, I think. It's kind of like entrenched, maybe the better kind of thing to use here, except with entrenched, you can go ahead and attack into enemy units. Here, that unit just cannot ready whatsoever. So definitely a really interesting version of that kind of a freezing mechanic here. I promise that we'll get back to disclose. That is another new keyword that is in Star Wars Unlimited, or coming to Star Wars Unlimited with Secrets of Power. Disclosing essentially just means you have to reveal cards from hand that have the matching aspect icons. So here, you would have to essentially reveal 2 cards at minimum. You would have to reveal 1 card that has the Vigilance Villainy icons, and then 1 more that has just 1 Vigilance icon. So it's a lot of information that you are giving your opponent to get the payoff for these effects. I'm not fully convinced on Disclose right now. I feel like that giving your opponent that level of information is very, very strong from their perspective, you know, especially when you are spending cards out of hand to put into your resource row as it is. You're already sort of losing cards in hand if you don't have those draw mechanics. If you're disclosing cards, then you're giving your opponent a lot of knowledge going forwards into the remaining phases. Yes, it is completely rational that you could, for the rest of the phases, then just either immediately use those cards or resource one of them away when you get to the regroup phase. But for me, disclosing just feels like it's a little too much that you are giving away. Next up, we have Dani Pilgrim, a 1 resource mono vigilance card, ground unit. It's a 1/3, which has when played and when defeated, heal 1 from your base. Not bad. Not bad at all. Conditional restore that only activates when played and when defeated. Would fit really, really well, though, in the Grand Admiral Thrawn deck that doubles your when defeated triggers. So you could potentially, maybe more in the late game, heal 3 in combination with the when played and double when defeated activations of the Dani Pilgrim. This one does not seem too bad whatsoever. Next up, we've got Armor of Fortune. This is going to be in the Spotlight deck as a 2 of. It's a 2 resource mono vigilance upgrade card, which has plot and gives 3 HP's bonus. This feels really good. I really like the look of Armor of Fortune, because what you could do here is, if you're playing a leader that when it deploys on its leader unit side is a little bit light on HP, you could just activate this out of plot and immediately attach it on. And all of a sudden, you're either leveling out that leader unit, or you are just boosting them even further in HP. I really like Armor of Fortune. I think this potentially could see some competitive and some Premier play as well. It's a cheap upgrade. You can plot it away. There's not a ton of resource destruction in the game at the moment, at least not off the top of my head. Comment down below if I'm wrong and correct me by all means. But this card seems very, very strong indeed. Next, we've got Charged with Murder, which is only going to be a 1 of in the Palpatine Spotlight deck. It's a 4 resource mono-vigilance event that says you may disclose double vigilance. If you do, defeat a damaged non-leader unit. So we've got a kill spell here that's slightly conditional on 2 factors. The first factor is that you have to have the double vigilance aspects in hand to be able to disclose. And then you have to have a non-leader unit on your opponent's side of the board that's damaged for you to take advantage of. This just feels like it's significantly worse Rivals Fall, in my opinion. Because you are essentially still paying the 6 resources, as it were, by disclosing double vigilance out from hand. And the damaged unit, to me, doesn't feel particularly worth it when we've already got so many other removals cards in the game. Takedown, Fell the Dragon, Rivals Fall, Power of the Dark Side, No Glory Only Results, Merciless Contests. There's so many other premium removal cards in the game that Charged with Murder just seems a little bit underwhelming, or a little bit too sort of expensive with what you're giving up in terms of the 4 resources and then the disclosure of the double vigilance aspects there. So I'm not 100% sure about that one. This one, however, I am a little bit more interested in. Retaliation. It's a 5 resource mono-vigilance event that says defeat a unit that dealt damage to a base this phase. And notably, look at the wording on this card. It doesn't say defeat a non-leader unit. So this very well could take care of leaders in the game. Not bad whatsoever, especially if you are up against, something like Sabine Wren with Command. It's got a Darksaber on it. Yes, you've just tanked a lot of damage into the base, but you can immediately then just Retaliation and just take care of it. This one feels pretty good. Whether it takes over those cards that I said before, Fell the Dragons, Rivals Falls, things like that, maybe more of a sideboard piece, I think, for Retaliation. But I think this, compared to Charged with Murder, I think Retaliation is definitely the one that I'm a little bit more interested in running. Sticking with the Palpatine deck, we've now got the Corrupt Politician, and this is a Spotlight exclusive card. So you have to get the Spotlight deck, or you will be able to get it in Hyperspace form or foil forms in the set as well. So there are a couple of other ways to get this card. If you don't want to buy the Spotlight deck, you just get the Spotlight deck and you're guaranteed 3 copies of it, which I think personally is a no-brainer. So Corrupt Politician is a 1 resource ground unit in Command and Villainy. It's a 2/2, so pretty decent stats for a 1 resource card. While you control more units than an opponent, this unit gains Sentinel. So I think the idea here is, again with the official tag, get a load of cheap, small officials out onto board. You get this down now as well, and it becomes a 2/2 Sentinel. Not bad. Not bad. I think even just as a 2/2 1 cost, it's decent, I think, in my opinion, even ignoring the ability text. Here next is Major Partagaz. We have seen this card before because we saw it in our art reveal stream, an art reveal video that we did this time last week, which should have been in the playlist that was linked in the corner of the video earlier on. But we'll quickly touch on it because it does come in the deck as a one-of. It's a 2 resource 0/6 with Overwhelm, which has whenever another official unit attacks, it gets +2/+2 for this phase. So again, sort of leaning into the Corrupt Politician idea, get a load of officials onto the board, get them attacking into the base, and get Partagaz stacks, then let this swing. It's got Overwhelm, so it doesn't even need to attack into the base. It can crash into an enemy unit and get Overwhelm damage, 2 for 1, and then get some stacks on that as well. Next up, we couldn't have a Palpatine Spotlight deck without having Palpatine himself. It's Palpatine I Am the Senate. It's a 3 resource ground unit in Command and Villainy. It's a 2/2, so slightly lower stats than what we just saw with the official, but it has the following effects. When played, if you control a leader unit, create 2 spy tokens and give those tokens Sentinel for this phase. Importantly, it also has the plot keyword. So you can get a guaranteed trigger off of the when played effect if you play it out with plot. Without playing it out from plot, I think it's okay without playing it out from plot. Yes, you get the spy tokens that have Sentinel, but you need to have the leader unit on the board already. I think this is a case of, and this generally is the theme of the Spotlight decks, they introduce you to the set's new mechanic pretty quickly and pretty often in the deck. So here it's asking you to kind of really take advantage of the plot mechanic by putting these cards into the resources, then deploying the unit, and just getting a lot of plot activations here. So I think on its own is maybe okay. Spy tokens aren't the beefiest things. They are, I think, 0/2s with Raid 2. So it's not like they're realistically going to be eating a chunk of attacks in from your opponent. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but maybe being played out of the plot, it's going to be a little bit better. Next, we've got ISB Shuttle, which is a 3/2 space unit for 3 resources. When played, if a friendly unit was defeated this phase, create a spy token. I love this. I think this is really, really good. Really, really nice, really simple. Whenever a friendly unit was defeated, so that you can take advantage of something like Super Laser Technician here, in this case, play the ISB Shuttle, get the spy token. Nice. Really, really good. Mass Ameda is next. 4 resource ground unit in Command and Villainy. 3/4. When played, give an experience token to each of up to 2 other official units. So, again, playing with this official matters sort of tag here, now not only are we getting more onto board, now not only are we buffing them if they are attacking, we have got permanent buffs in the form of the experience tokens. And this is playable from plot as well. Really, really good in that sort of official matters kind of deck. We've also got more experience tokens being thrown around with Vice Admiral Ramparts. 4 resource ground unit. It's a 3/6, and on attack, you may disclose 2 command and a villainy. If you do, give an experience token to each of up to 2 other units. So again, we're working with this disclose mechanic here, which I'm going to have to, I think, see more of the main set to really pass judgment on disclose, and some more of the Premier decks when they come out. For me, I'm a little bit cautious on disclose at the moment, but if you do, giving experience on attack as well. It's a 3/6, so it's quite strong. It's got a lot of HP to it at 4 resources as well. So if we get it down on turn 3 and then just start swinging in, disclosing and getting experience tokens, I could see it getting out of hand very, very quickly. Next, Shock Horror, we've got another official in Dedra Miro. It's a 6 resource ground unit, 5/5 ambush. On attack, create a spy token. So immediately, for 6 resources, we've got 5 power ambushing into something. As soon as it ambushes in, you're going to get a spy token. Not bad. It's not going to get any immediate boosts with things like Mass Ameda and Vice Admiral Rampart here when you're ambushing in. It will trigger Major Partagaz, however, when it ambushes. So there are some play lines here. There are some combos that we could certainly work with. We've seen I Am the Senate already creating 5 spy tokens. So now it's time to go over to heroism. We're going to start off with C-3PO. We've got another 3PO card. I think we have seen this revealed already. 1 cost ground unit for a 1/3. Action, rest, return this unit to its owner's hand. Give a unit +2/+2 this phase. Yeah, so we have seen this card before. It's kind of like Salacious B. Crumb in Command Heroism, but instead of dealing the damage, we're giving +2/+2 to a phase, and we've not got the heal on play as well. Mina Bonteri. This is a new card, however. It's a 2 resource ground unit, 2/4, restore 1, so very cheap restoring in Command and Heroism, working along with the Sundari Peacekeepers. And when defeated, you may disclose double Command and Heroism. If you do, draw a card. This feels like it's one of the few times that so far in this video where disclosing actually feels like it's worth. Disclosing double Command and Heroism to draw 1, to me that feels totally fine, because you're getting an extra card in hand, and then going through with the next phases, either resourcing those cards that you've disclosed, or immediately playing them down. I think this is actually quite worth it, in my opinion. And it's a 2/4 on phase 1 with restore 1. So, to me, this card seems pretty strong. Next, we've got Ahsoka Tano. Spotlight exclusive card here. 3-cost ground unit, a 2/5. When this unit completes an attack, you may disclose Command and Heroism. If you do, attack with another unit. Again, this feels very, very worth it, in my opinion, because in this instance, you only have to disclose 1 card. You only have to disclose something that has the Command and Heroism aspects on them. So disclosing 1 card to get an extra attack feels very, very good. This, I think, is going to find itself a home in Sabine Wren Command, in my opinion, because you've already got things like Fleet Lieutenant in there. You've already got things like Rebel Assault if you really want them. Now you've basically just got an extra 3 copies of Fleet Lieutenant and Rebel Assault. Yes, you have to make this unit survive a phase before it goes and attacks in, but consider the chain that you could potentially do with some of these cards that already exist, with some of these sort of like attack and action cheating cards that we can do. Ahsoka seems very, very good indeed. And importantly as well, it doesn't specify that it has to be a ground unit. So you can attack with Ahsoka, it can complete the attack, and then disclose Command Heroism, and then swing with a space unit. So, I think Ahsoka's very, very good. Now we've got Captain Typho. 4-resource ground unit, 4/5 Sentinel. When this unit is attacked, you may disclose Command and Heroism. If you do, heal 1 damage from your base. Okay, so now I think we're cooking with disclosure, because again, you're only having to disclose 1 card from hand here with the Typho effect. This unit is going to get attacked because it's Sentinel, unless it gets something like Force Lightning, then it loses all abilities, or you have hard removal for it. When it gets attacked, you're just constantly getting restore 1. And you can just loop the exact same card over and over again to get the constant heal 1. So I think we're really cooking here with disclosure in Command and Heroism in particular. These 2 cards have been really, really nice in my opinion. Now we've finally got some rares to talk about. It's the Naboo Royal Starship, 4-resource space unit, 2/5. Each friendly leader unit gets Raid 2 and Overwhelm. And it's got the plot keyword as well. This feels very, very sneaky. To be able to deploy your leader unit, if it already has Raid as well, which, is going to test my memory. I can't remember any Heroism units that have Raid at the moment. There's Cad Bane, but he's villainy. Let me know in the comments if I've missed any, or if I can't think of any. But if there is one already, this will get extra Raid stacks, and then be able to overwhelm in. And we've seen with the Anakin leader unit that overwhelming can be very, very nice and very strong on a leader. So I think the Naboo Royal Starship could potentially be a bit of a sneaky choice here for players to be able to build with. I like this card, and you still get the 2/5 in space as well. Next, we've got Mon Mothma. 7-cost ground unit, 5/8 with Restore 3. Already I'm interested. When played, you may attack with any number of other units, one at a time, even if those units are exhausted. they can't attack bases for these attacks. This feels really cool. We've not seen really any cards so far, or many cards I should say, that allow you to attack even if the unit is exhausted. Strike True, I think, allows you to do that. It's definitely a fight spell, but I can't remember off the top of my head whether it allows you to do it even if it's an exhausted unit. I believe you can, because it's just a fight spell. This seems very, very interesting. If you've got a load of units on the board that are high HP, have maybe been boosted up by some experience tokens here and there, if you've Metal Ceremonied on a turn or so, this seems really cool. And it's kind of a semi-board wipe, or a quasi-board wipe, for heroism, which I didn't really think that we'd see in Star Wars Unlimited. We've got obviously Super Laser Blast in Villainy, in Vigilance, but to see a potential for a quasi-board wipe in heroism here, I like this. I'm really liking the rares so far that we've seen in heroism in these decks. And we're going to get another one here with Dismantle the Conspiracy. 6-cost event in Command and Heroism. A friendly unit captures any number of enemy non-leader units with a total of 7 or less remaining HP. So we're essentially giving heroism Cad Bane here. The Cad Bane unit from set 2, I think. I think it was Shadows of the Galaxy. This seems good. It's expensive, but you're in command. So you've got access to resupply, you've got access to the command event itself. I like the look of this, in all honesty, because you can capture multiple units with the total of 7 or 8 less HP. So you can get a 4 and a 3, 3 2s and a 1. You could get just a 7, a 6 and a 1, a 5 and a 2. You've got a lot of different ways to combine this here. And we know how good the Cad Bane unit is for Cunning and Villainy. I like this card. I really like this card. I think these rares have been really, really good, in my opinion. Yeah, big fan. Well done to FFG for that, in my opinion. Jar Jar Binks, I'm not sure if we've seen this one before, but if we haven't, and if we have, we'll go over it quickly. 2 resource, mono command ground unit. It's a 2/1, but it's more a combat trick here. When played, you may give another friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase. It also has the plot keyword. So I wonder, we could go ahead maybe, and this is some combo thinking here. If we go one phase, in a new phase, if we go one action with Jar Jar Binks, give a +2/+2, or we deploy a leader and then activate plot, Jar Jar Binks, +2/+2. Then go Ahsoka, swing Ahsoka, and then disclose command heroism, attack with another unit. That seems pretty good. That seems like a lot of actions that we are cheating out here, which is generally the marking of a good strategy in Star Wars Unlimited. If you can get multiple actions in one card, that generally is pretty decent. So is Jar Jar Binks gonna become a mono command aggro meta staple? I don't know, but I mean it seems like fun, and I certainly would not be angry to see more Jar Jar Binks in the format. Next is Taylander Shuttle. It's a 2/4 for 3 resources. It's a space unit, which is in the Padme list, in the Padme deck. It's nice and simple. On attack, if you have the initiative, create a spy token. The only issue here is that you have to have a vice grip on the initiative to get all of these spy tokens onto board. And for a 2/4 in space for 3, I think we've maybe got a few better options from a full, Premier constructed format mindset at the very least. Next is the Nubian Star Skiff, which is also in the Padme list. Interestingly, because it relies on officials. 4-cost space unit, 4/4. While you control an official, this unit gains Restore 2. And I just want to see if it is in... It's not in the Chancellor Palpatine list, which is interesting because it feels like that's where this card should maybe be because of all the officials that you've got in this deck. You've got a couple of officials here maybe, but I mean, the Nubian Starskiff, again, that official matters keyword could maybe be a deck that we could experiment with in Secrets of Power. Now we've got the Naboo Security Force, 6-cost mono command ground unit. It's a 5/7. When played or when defeated, you may disclose mono command. If you do, give a friendly unit Sentinel for this phase. And importantly, it says a friendly unit and not an other friendly unit. So if I'm reading this right, you can just give the Naboo Security Force Sentinel as soon as it's played in, which makes a lot of sense on a 7 HP body. And again, it's just potentially one card out of hand that we're having to disclose here with the mono command aspect. So Naboo Security Force doesn't seem bad, but I think we do have some other Sentinels that are in the game at the moment that are maybe a little bit better for 6 resources. Now we've got Unveiled Might, which similarly to the Armor of Fortune is a upgrade with plot. This one a little bit more expensive at 4 resources, but it does give +2, +3, whereas just with the Armor of Fortune, it was just a +3 HP boost. This one seems okay. 4 resources feels like it's quite a bit to spend, though. With plot, you don't want to, I feel like, completely blow your load with playing cards with the plot mechanic when deploying your leader. One of the biggest benefits and one of the strengths of Star Wars Unlimited is that deploying your leader unit still allows you to have access to your resources, so you can still pay for cards out of hand. Here, I think maybe is a little bit expensive, but I don't know, maybe if you run this in Sabine Command, you deploy Sabine on 4, you immediately then play the plot cost of Unveiled Might, means that Sabine is what? An 8 HP leader unit that's swinging in for 5 every turn if it's going into the base? And then stick the Darksaber on it? Okay, that might be trouble. That might be a little bit scary. And an exception to the rule here, but okay, I'm starting to come around to it. Next up is Budget Scheming, which is in the Palpatine list, thankfully, which makes a lot of sense. It's a 2-cost mono-green event. Give an experience token to each of up to 3 official units. This looks good. In official matters decks, this looks very, very nice. Medal Ceremony for officials, and then boosting up and combining with all of the other officials. Partagaz, Vice Admiral Rampart. Looks very, very nice indeed. Charged with Corruption next. Event 3 cost. You may disclose double command from hand. If you do, a friendly unit catches an enemy non-leader unit. So no HP restriction on this or anything like that. It is just disclose double command, which if you have a double command card in hand is just one card out of hand. For 3 as well. Okay, if we're going to see... We're seeing capturing coming back into the set design here for Secrets of Power, which I suppose makes sense. It's very sort of espionage-y. And, capturing and intel gathering is definitely a big part of that kind of theme. So Charged with Corruption here is definitely an interesting one. Again, the disclosure of double command here, maybe a little bit on the expensive side, but who knows? Then we've got with Thunderous Applause, which is in the Padme deck. 3-cost mono command event. Give a unit +2/+2 for this phase. You may disclose mono command. If you do, give another unit +2/+2 for this phase. Okay, so again, the disclosing just seems like it's a lot better in the Padme list than it is in the Palpatine deck. The Palpatine deck, it feels like you're giving up a lot for not much return. With the Padme deck, it feels like you're giving up a little or enough, but still getting back quite a bit here. To give another unit +2/+2, and again, if we're combining this with the Jar Jar and the Ahsoka Tano to just sort of go these big, massive attack, this seems decent. This seems very, very decent here with Thunderous Applause. I definitely think at face value that the Padme deck is better than the Palpatine deck, in my opinion. At least it seems that way. We've still got quite a few cards to go through and talk about, though, which we will continue on with. We've already seen Cyril Khan, or have we? I think this might be a new card. It's definitely not in the Spotlight decks, but we will have a look at it at the very least. It's a 2-cost aggression villainy ground unit, 2/3. On attack, you may disclose double aggression and a villainy. If you do, choose a unit. Deal 2 damage to that unit unless its controller discards a card from their hand. Okay. That's not... Again, it's this disclosing cost that's really putting me off of it. Disclosing at minimum 2 cards out of hand. Yes, you're burning something for 2 potentially, unless that controller discards a card. So there are situations where this card could be useful, but I don't know. For me, I'm not 100% sure on it right now. We've seen Chopper already, the first legendary that we've seen from Secrets of Power. K-Del Connix, though, is a new card, I believe. I don't think I've seen this one before. It's certainly not in the Spotlight deck, as I have a little look here, but I don't think I've seen this before. 3-cost ground unit in aggression and heroism. It's a 3/2. When played, you may defeat all non-unique upgrades on a unit, and it's a plot card as well. This is sideboard tech. This is absolutely sideboard tech, in my opinion. So maybe get rid of your confiscates, in all honesty, depending on what deck you're playing, obviously. But if you're in aggression heroism, if you're playing Han solo worth the risk, for example, get rid of your confiscates from the main deck, because we've got K-Del Connix now here. And maybe even do away with your Fang Fighters, because this defeats all non-upgrade units on a unit. So that seems pretty decent to me. And it's got the plot, so you can just surprise your opponent if they're going something against like Kylo Tarkin Town, that loads up a load of non-unique upgrades on the unit, then K-Del could be a decent little answer. Furtive Handmaiden, we have already seen as a Spotlight exclusive card. 2/2 for 1. On attack, discard a card, draw a card. Pretty decent. We like early game looting. Bail Organa, we have not seen, though. It's a 2-resource ground unit in Cunning and Heroism. 2/4. On attack, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, create a spy token. So we're spending 2 cards in hand, essentially, by the time we've played Bail Organa as well, to create an extra spy token. I mean, maybe if you've got cards that are caring about being in the discard pile and have like an effect similar to the Kylo's TIE Silencer that you can play back from the discard pile, if there's a card like that that's going to be revealed in Secrets of Power, then Bail Organa seems like it could be a good card. 2/4 as well for 2 doesn't seem awful, but maybe not, honestly, with that discard in mind. We'll have to see more of the set, I think, before we get too carried away with that. Next, we've got the Bravo Squadron Fighter. Nice and simple. It's a 2-cost space unit. It's a 2/3 with Saboteur. Not bad, especially when there are quite a few Sentinels that are running around in the space arena at the moment. So having a Sentinel to get around that is definitely not bad at all. Anakin Skywalker Secret Husband. It's a 3-resource ground unit, a 3/4 with the hidden keyword that was introduced in the last set, Legends of the Force, meaning that it can't be attacked if it was played this phase. And while you control Padme as a leader or unit, it gets Raid 2. So in the Padme list, it's a 5-4 for 3 when attacking. That seems pretty solid. That seems pretty solid, in my opinion. You are locked into either running Padme as your leader or having a Padme Amidala unit on the board, but if you can protect that Padme if you're not in the leader, then that seems pretty solid. That seems pretty decent, in my opinion. Getting a 5 attack swing, not bad at all. Then Hunter is a 6-cost ground unit, 7/6, again with Saboteur. On attack, if the defender is exhausted, it gets -4 power for this attack. This seems like it might be a case of being like a one-of emergency card, which, I mean, is confirmed by the fact that it is a one-of in the Padme Spotlight deck. Paying 6 for it, it's a Saboteur. It doesn't have ambush, so unless you are ambushing it in with something like Energy Conversion Lab, you're not immediately getting that attack in, so the value gets drawn back a little bit, and they could immediately just go ahead and fail the dragon this as well. So, I don't know. Hunter may be a little bit too telegraphed to see further play in the Premier format, but if you can get it to stick and you can protect it and heal it a little bit, then it's not a bad board clearer. We've then got Sneaking Suspicion, a 2-resource mono cunning upgrade with plot, +1/+1. Not awful. Not awful when played out of plot, I think. That's probably where you're going to be looking to play this mostly, because 2 resources for 1/1 doesn't really seem super worth, but from the plot mechanic, doesn't seem too bad. I think the last few cards that we're looking at here now as well that are new, that are coming in Secrets of Power. Bogged Down in Procedure. It's a 3-resource mono cunning event. Exhaust a unit. You may disclose a cunning. If you do, exhaust another unit. This card's good. Yeah, I like this card. This card seems very, very nice indeed. Especially if you combine it with something like Jabba the Hutt. If you search out a trick and you reveal that trick to your opponent, if it's, say, like McClunky or something like that, you can just keep that McClunky as the card that you're revealing for Bogged Down in Procedure. And it gives you, like, the remainder of that phase, potentially, to answer your opponent's board or, like, take initiative safely and look for something like maybe Super Laser Blast if you're worried about losing the game the next phase. This card seems very, very nice indeed. I like Bogged Down in Procedure. Next is the Political Bully. It's a 3-cost ground unit in mono villainy, 2/3. When played, if you control another official unit, you may deal 2 damage to a ground unit. This is nice. I like the look of this. Again, in this official matters sort of tag deck that we're kind of building in Palpatine, getting 2 burn damage on play, as well as getting a 2/3, seems very, very nice. And then you can boost this up even further with the, what is the card? It's not Retaliation. It is the one that gives 3 experience tokens. Budget Scheming, I think, is it? Or Unveiled Might. Just boost them all up and continue to attack. I think I like the look of this. This seems very, very good. What it essentially is that it is, what's the card? Daring Raid. It is Daring Raid to a ground unit on a body for 3, which to me seems worth, and you're not immediately then locked into playing aggression as well. When has become now a 1-resource mono villainy event, play a card with plot from your resources, and then put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. This is cool, because what it essentially means is that, for two reasons. One, it means that you can safely play plot cards before deploying your leader, which is nice. Was one of the worries I think that some people might have had with plot, is that as soon as they go, and if your leader unit immediately gets answered and you don't play as many or all of the cards with plot that you were hoping for, that card is just sort of stuck there now. This kind of solves that. And the second aspect is, once your leader unit has been defeated, you can still quite safely resource cards away that have the plot mechanic, because you can then use the when has become now to play them out and still surprise your opponent in that fashion. So I think this is a very, very necessary card for this plot mechanic to work. And I'm glad that FFG has had the foresight here to accommodate for that. So big kudos to the development team for that. We've got 3 more cards to talk about here quickly. We've got B2 EMO, is a 1 resource ground unit in mono heroism, 0/4 with restore 1. On attack, you may disclose double heroism. If you do, give a unit sentinel for this phase. I think, honestly, you could completely ignore the on attack ability here, and this card's still decent. A 0/4 restore 1 for 1 still seems pretty okay, in my opinion. You know, early restore, there was I think it was the Moisture Farmer in set 2, I think it was Shadows of the Galaxy, that was a limited powerhouse in mono vigilance. This being in mono heroism here, and the fact that it is a main set card, I think this is going to be a limited powerhouse for sure. Whether it's going to see Premier play, potentially. I like the sound of it at the very least. The on-attack ability, if we do want to use it, not awful in the mid to late game, especially when you've got those high HP units on the board. But I like the look of B2 EMO, particularly in limited for me. That's where I'm looking out for that card to make a real impact. Marva Andor, 3 resource ground unit in mono heroism, 3/4. When defeated, give an experience token to each friendly rebel unit. So, wow, okay, so now not only do we have Medal Ceremony in the game, we've now got Medal Ceremony on a 3/4 body that is not maxed out at giving them to 3 units. That is very good. This is a very good card, because it means as well, you can just crash into an opponent's unit and trigger the effect to just boost everything up. And again, looking at those action economy things that we were talking about earlier, with things like Ahsoka, with things like Jar Jar, with things like the double attack card as well. I think it was the Thunderous Applause that we were looking at, that allows you to attack and then attack. Seems very, very strong. I know it was the +2 and then +2. But yeah, this is a very good card. I think this is really, really nice. And it's an uncommon as well. Like, really, really good. How many copies are you getting in the deck? Or are you not getting any in the deck? And this is just a completely new card. This is just a completely new card, I think. Yeah. That's crazy. But very, very good indeed. I like Marva Andor for sure. Final card that we're going to be talking about is going to be the final one that is in the Padme list. It's Moral Authority. 3 resource upgrade, mono heroism, attached to a friendly unique unit. So it has to go to a friendly unique. When played, attached unit captures an enemy non-leader unit with less remaining HP than it. This one feels a little underwhelming. This feels like it's really shoehorned in to making you build a specific fashion. You have to have, essentially what you're looking for here is a friendly unique sentinel. That's probably what your best bet is. Something like old Ben Kenobi from Spark of Rebellion, which I don't think has seen play in quite a while, but that's probably what you're looking for here. I think this would maybe be a little bit better if it had plot as well. If you could play this out of the resources when your leader unit deploys, and then you could attach it to something like the Obi-Wan Kenobi leader unit that has Sentinel. That I think would be a lot better, because then you can capture, a 7 or less, I think it is, at base stats. That feels like it would be a little bit better. Here, though, I feel like not as strong. But the fact that it's in a Spotlight deck, I mean, you know, you can't argue with rares being in Spotlight decks, and they are quite generous with the fact that you get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rares in a starter deck, and then you're gonna get more in the booster pack as well that you'll get in the Spotlight box. So those are your Spotlight decks for Secrets of Power. I think they're pretty interesting. I think the Padme one at face value is better, in my opinion. I think Chancellor's Palpatine deck just doesn't quite take advantage of that disclose mechanic as well as the Padme one does. But what is most important is what you think watching this video. So let me know down in the comments section, what do you think of these Spotlight decks? What do you think of the cards that are in them? Is there one that is stronger than the other, do you think? Do you think that they're well balanced? Let me know down in the comments section below. But while you're there, if you did enjoy this video, do be sure to drop a like rating on it. Subscribe to the channel as well for more Star Wars Unlimited and other TCG related content. We'll be continuing the build up to Secrets of Power's release in a few months' time on the channel, so be sure to stick around. But until the next time, that is going to do it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.